Hey there fellow gamers and cocktail enthusiasts, Ben here, and welcome to another Castles and Cocktails recipe video. So I was pleasantly surprised by my recent playthrough of Sonic Frontiers on the Switch. I have always been a Sonic fan when it comes to the older Genesis games. I played Sonic Colors, which I thought was newer than it was. It's actually like 16 years old now on the Wii. But that was the last time I had picked up a Sonic game. I was a little skeptical because, as usual, modern Sonic games are really kind of hit and miss. The 2D ones have been really good, but the 3D ones have been literally an absolute mixed bag of everything. But I was a little hopeful, and I was honestly shocked at how amazing this game really is. It's not unbelievably perfect. The ending is a little, honestly, kind of disappointing after a lot of really fun running around and puzzle solving, but outside of that, it's a great game. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, if I'm doing any kind of a Sonic game, I gotta do some sort of a Sonic cocktail, right? Well, the main and most useful little ability you get in the game, which kind of drives the force of the narrative, is the ability of Cyloop. You hold down the X button, run in circles, and you can do all kind of stuff with it. It's sort of your main power for the game. So this, after a little bit of trial and error, is Sonic's Cyloop as a cocktail. Equipment for this drink, you're going to need a measuring device. I've got my small angled measuring cup off to the side here. A strainer with your shaker, I remembered it this time, with ice. I've got a cocktail glass chilling in the freezer. And optionally, you might want a bar spoon, but that's going to be a variation on this recipe if you would happen to do that one. Now, you will technically also need a juicer for a half a lime, but I already have that measured out, so I didn't really mention that. In addition to that half a lime for the ingredients, you're looking for some cherry bitters, some Grand Marnier, as well as our special ingredient for this cocktail, which is freezer-chilled blue candy vodka. Now, you can buy some blue raspberry vodka, specifically, I think the brand Wave has a blue raspberry vodka, if you can't really make your own, but I definitely recommend trying to make your own, using 3/4 of a bottle of probably a relatively cheap vodka. I don't expect you guys to be grabbing like a Kettle One or a Grey Goose for this. I think I used Absolute for my initial batch, not that that's the cheapest vodka in the world, but it's definitely a lesser quality when it comes to vodkas. From that, I took about 5 or 6 sour Warhead candies. You don't necessarily have to use these. You can use any variety of blue candy. Personally, I don't really care for blue raspberry candy, not so much the flavor, but the fact that it turns your tongue blue, so I usually end up making candy vodka out of it. Do note, though, if you're not using a hard candy and you're using more of a chewy sugar candy, you're going to get a lot more sediment when that dissolves, and you will probably have to then strain that out. All that said, let's go ahead and get started making this one. All right, so we'll start things out in our iced mixing glass here with half of that lime's worth of juice. This ends up being between half an ounce and 3/4, depending on how much juice is in your lime. Add yourself a dash of cherry bitters, just enough to add a little extra flavor and balance it out. We're not looking to really change it because you're getting a lot of that flavor out of the vodka. Go for half an ounce of the Grand Marnier and 1.5 ounces of your blue raspberry candy vodka. As always, metric conversions are in the description box below. We'll go ahead and give this a shake. We'll go ahead and strain that into a well-chilled cocktail glass. And that is Sonic's Cyloop cocktail. So let's go ahead and give this thing a try. This is a very distinctly sour and pungent drink. It gives you a pretty good sour kick right at the front. And as it settles, you get more and more and more of that blue candy flavor. I actually think this would probably be a really good drink blended with ice. It lends itself to that super, super cold idea. Now that we're leaning away from summer and into fall, though, it doesn't really make sense to make a blended cocktail, but we absolutely could do it. Now, as a variation, if you want to, 1, make this bluer, and 2, make it sweeter, because it is definitely more spirit forward, I would highly recommend adding a bar spoon each of Blue Curacao and Simple Syrup to get you there. But this is really a strange, weird, interesting twist on, yeah, just a sort of like a nice sort of vodka sour. Not the best drink I've ever made, but once you have some blue candied raspberry vodka hanging out in your freezer, you're going to want to make some things, and I definitely think this one's worth a try. Much like the game itself, this isn't the best cocktail. Sonic Frontiers isn't the best game, but it's still really fun, and this is still pretty good. So that's going to be it for this Castles and Cocktails recipe video. Highly recommend picking up Sonic Frontiers if you're any level of Sonic fan. It's really a fun game to just sit down and play with for a while. Story's nothing groundbreaking. Gameplay's, you know, the gameplay is nothing groundbreaking either, but it's a fun ride. And actually, if this is the first in line of more open world-esque Sonic games, I cannot wait to see what Sega comes up with next. That's going to be it for this video, though. Be sure to check my weekly streams out every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Twitch, and stick around here on YouTube for more cocktail videos like this one. This has been reminding you to keep on gaming, drink responsibly, and I will see you guys next time. Hey there, fellow gamers and cocktail... Fuck!